Greetings YouTube. Today I'm going to review Tremors 4. Now, I loved the original movie Tremors. I thought it was awesome. Kevin Bacon was a blast. Everything in this film was just great, goofy fun. A great lighthearted monster movie. A classic in my opinion. I really liked Tremors 2. Again, more goofy monster hunting. Solid, a lot of fun. Tremors 3 was okay. Not great, not as good as the second one, but it still was a good time, and I think that the reason the third was as enjoyable for me was Michael Gross. So I didn't have what you'd call real high hopes for Tremors 4, seeing as, you know, things were going downhill as each one each one followed the other. But I was really pleasantly surprised with Tremors 4. Seriously. I would say that, at least for me, it was equally as good as the second one. Significantly better than the third. Now, the one thing that linked all of the first three movies were the Graboids and Michael Gross's character of Burt Gummer. That was it. Those are the only three things that were in exactly in all three of the films. So I was a little wondering, how are they going to pull this off? If this movie is set in 1889, obviously it can't have Burt Gummer in it, but it can have the Graboids. So that's your one tenuous connection to the first three films. But it did still have a Gummer. I shall get to that. So the film opens up in a silver mine, and almost immediately miners are being attacked by Graboids. But these Graboids are a little different. At least at first you can't really see them, but their behavior is a little bit different than the Graboids that we have seen in the other three films. So, not surprising, all of the miners quit, which causes the nearby town of Rejection to pretty much dry up and blow away. The only ones left in this town are the diehards. A woman owning a hotel, a Chinese family owning the general store, and their few hanger-ons, and the one remaining miner who wants to keep mining because he needs to pay off his farm. And when things can't look any worse, they get a telegram saying that the owner of the mine is showing up because he's not happy. Where is my silver? And the owner of the mine is Hiram Gummer, the connection to the other three films, and is also played by Michael Gross. But rather than playing Hiram Gummer as a 19th century version of Burt Gummer, he plays this character as an Eastern dandy. He is from a New England stock, you know, refined, civilized, a man that rides a bicycle in the Old West, a man that hasn't been on a horse since he had one at his 6th birthday. You know, a man that's truly and utterly a city-urban dweller. And he completely and utterly does not fit into this environment that he finds himself thrust into. Now, this film was done on a very small budget. $5 million. That's a tight budget. But they spent it wisely. They didn't waste it on sets. The few sets they had, a mine that was probably already there, a barn, and the town, which was basically just the facades with tents behind them. Now, normally in a film, you only build the facades on sections of the city you're going to drive by, and you never have to worry about the backs, because you're never going to see the interiors. The interiors are shot elsewhere. But this was genius. They built the facades, they stuck the tents on them, and there's your set. And the tents made a perfect... it fit perfectly in with a boom town, because you didn't have permanent structures. Sure, you had a facade to make it look good, and you slapped on a tent in the background. I have no idea if anyone ever did this, but it fit perfectly in this film. The one thing they did pay attention to was the costuming. The costuming, I thought, looked wonderful. Everybody looked like they were wearing the types of clothing they should have been wearing for that time period and for the social class they were in. Another thing I really liked about this, we had a strong female character, a strong Hispanic character, a Mexican character, some strong Chinese, Asian characters, and a strong, positive Native American character. And all of these people were given respect, and all of them were seen in a positive light. And I really liked that. It wasn't just the white guy coming in and taking over. He was an absolute loser for most of the film. He couldn't do anything. He couldn't hit the side of a barn if his life depended on it. Okay, with the firearm. So they go to the they round up a few miners. They go back to the mine. They try to convince them to fight to start up again. They say, okay, we'll try tomorrow. They get attacked at night. The first time we see the graboids up close, and they're more like wolves now. They're about human size, but they're fast. Very different than the other ones. Shaped the same as a graboid, but small and fast. The two survivors of this little trek go back to Rejection, realize they're completely outgunned, and hire a gunfighter. Smart move! And the guy playing the gunfighter, I forget his name, I apologize, Blackhand Kelly, and this guy wasn't just a cookie-cutter bad guy, or a villain, or you know, an anti-hero. He had depth. He expects Hiram to man up, to start acting like someone that isn't just some useless, you know, wallflower, to start behaving like an adult. And he actually makes a connection with the people in this film. Sure, he's morally ambiguous for most of the time he survives on the screen, but he was entertaining. It was well done. Nobody phoned in a performance in this film. I was very impressed by this. So eventually, Hiram says, "Okay, I've had it. This is it. I'm done," and then he leaves. The only possession he's got left to him at this point is a gold watch. He goes all the way back to the nearest city, prepared to go home and maybe start his life over again. But then he thinks about the fact that those people back there are desperate. There are 3 graboids left. They're gonna be hunted down and killed, and he can't bring himself to abandon them. So he kits himself up, heads back, and we have the final scene in the 3rd reel. And it was a great epic battle. Of course, the good guys win. It's what you expect. The good guys win in these movies. The graboids always die. And it was just heaps of fun. And in the absolute last scene in the movie, Hiram is still trying to learn how to shoot a pistol, and he can't. He can't hit anything with this thing. So the town is pitched in, and they've bought him something that will let him hit targets. And they pull the cover off this, and it's a bright, shiny Gatling gun. If you guys don't know what a Gatling gun is, I'm going to see if I can remember to put a link in here. A Gatling gun was the first fully automatic firearm. It was a beautiful thing to behold. And this particular one was an example, was a work of art. I have no idea if it's a really functional one. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. There aren't a lot of Gatling guns in the world. And it was in awesome condition. And Hiram takes this, puts the magazine in, starts to crank the crank, and that's how you run it. And you get this look of exalted joy on his face as he starts mowing things down with this Gatling gun. And there you have the link to Burt Gummer. So it comes right around. It was a thing of beauty. Now, I did have one small quibble with this. When he kits himself up to go back and save Rejection, which they renamed Perfection, of course, he buys a wagon and 2 horses and all these firearms, including a punting gun, which is a shotgun with a barrel this big, and it's a real thing. It was designed to shoot entire flocks of waterfowl. He pays for all this with a pocket watch. Now, a pocket watch was a valuable thing in the 19th century. Don't get me wrong. Not that valuable. Particularly not in a boomtown environment where everyday items were incredibly expensive because that's how you made money. The miners didn't make money in these things, folks. The mine owners made money, and the people supplying the miners and mine owners made money. And you did that by charging huge amounts of money for basics like wagons and tools and firearms, and you made money hand over fist. So he wouldn't have been able to buy all this stuff with a pocket watch. Now, I know this, but I surmise that your average person watching this film would not know this, and I just kind of ignored it for the most part when the film was going on because it was so much fun to see these people finally get a chance to fight back against the graboids on a more even footing. So, if you've enjoyed any of the Tremors films, and I can't imagine that you haven't, then definitely watch Tremors 4. Now, I picked up all 4 of them in a set, a two DVD set. I think I paid like $10 or $12 for it at Walmart or something like that. So the sets are out there. Go get this. I haven't listened to the commentary track on this yet. I'm going to in the future because it's got to be worth it because it was just so much fun to watch. So again, awesome film, a lot of fun. I really enjoyed myself.